welcome. And what do you think of our Microsoft Teams podcast room?
This is slick. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at all that Microsoft Teams room pop.
It's pretty cool.
You got
right?
Copilot on the wall too.
Yeah, well, we have to mention Copilot because otherwise somebody in Microsoft gets fired.
Right.
It's like fairies.
Right.
If you don't acknowledge the existence of fairies, a fairy dies somewhere in a forest.
Right.
It's a similar principle.
It is exactly. I'm almost expecting the Copilot logo to become the Microsoft logo. Lately, it's so much Copilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gospel according to Copilot, that one, right?
Pretty
That's
much.
the thing. So excellent. So, gentlemen, thank you for coming through and actually sitting with us here today in the Microsoft Teams Rooms podcast room. So for everybody's benefit at home or wherever you might be consuming this, we have Josh Blalock, isn't it?
It is.
I've been mispronouncing your name all this
It's
time.
a long A.
I call you Blalock.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
They don't see the Y after the A, and they think it's a softer. That's Blalock.
It's Blalock.
Yeah,
So
Blalock.
Josh Blalock from Jabra, and we have Jonathan Hinojosa, or Hinojosa, as some of you might pronounce it, but Hinojosa, from Ingram Micro. So gentlemen, thank you. Josh, I'll start with you. If you can just introduce who you are, what you do, and just to give people a picture of who Josh is.
Sure, yeah. The first thing is that a lot of people would be like, I don't even know who you are. You don't have a cowboy hat on. So that's where I usually catch any flack. So, Josh Blalock. My day job is as the chief video evangelist at Jabra, which what that means, because a lot of people say, what is an evangelist? What does that even mean? What do you do?
Yeah. What is an evangelist? What does that mean? What do you even do?
In terms of Jabra, because it tends to change amongst the industry a little bit. In terms of Jabra, that means you're getting out and you're telling the story via video, via being at events and bringing our presence at an event to the online world, digitizing that, right? But helping to try to let people understand what the video side of our portfolio looks like. Everybody knows Jabra for audio, and video is relatively new to the space. So the idea there is to get out and tell that story, bring it to life, help those that are shopping for room solutions understand these are some options from us, and here's why it's important.
And it is very important that you get that message out there. There's so much noise in the space. You have to really stand out.
Yeah, exactly.
And you do that. You do that very well, actually. You have a very, very loyal, very considered following online, which I'm one of your fans. I love consuming your content, definitely. So no, it's very, very much important. And obviously, like you say, Jabra, very trusted, very respected in the audio game.
Right.
Relative newcomer to video, fair to say, I think.
It is.
But what you've achieved in that time, I think, is really, really great. So before we get into all of that, and allow Jonathan to introduce himself and just say, poor guy, would have left him in a corner here, Put baby in a corner.
I like corners. Don't you worry. Yes, thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Josh. I am Jonathan Hinojosa, or Hinojosa, however you prefer to pronounce it. And I am Jabra's business development manager at Ingram Micro. So I am EMEA level. So I am the Jabra champion for the entire EMEA region. Right. Basically anything to do with Jabra and Ingram within the region, I'm there. Yeah. So
awesome. Does a lot of good work promoting, similar to you actually, raising awareness and promoting the Jabra brand within our business and to our partners, and obviously supporting with the end user opportunities as well, which is good. So a lot of good work. So today, I think we have the P50 right there, isn't it? That's not the VBS.
We do have the P50 right there.
I'm learning the difference between the sizes now. It's become visually, I'm picking it up. So we've got the P50, obviously showing the display on there, or showing on the display, I should say. And by the way, we've got this camera up here just so you guys know.
Which is not a P50.
No, exactly.
Okay.
So no picking your noses or doing stuff under the table.
Got
it will be
okay.
picked up.
Okay. Yeah.
You get this. But no, look. I mean, the first thing that's to be said about your video products, they look so cool, right? They're very different in the aesthetic of most manufacturers,
right?
To be honest with you, typically square bars is what you tend to see from a lot of places, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Let's not. We're not bashing those that have a square bar, but actually,
I am. But
you're allowed to, right? You're allowed to. I've got to be a little bit more neutral, more agnostic around the whole topic. Yeah. But no, it's a genuine sentiment. But what you have here actually demonstrates a really considered aspect in terms of the thought and around the design language that Jabra have employed, which it speaks to the consideration around the product development overall, right? Yeah. That you didn't have to make it round. You could have made it square. Yeah. Probably a hell of a lot cheaper to produce as well.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the thing with the round optics, with the 180-degree view. I'm probably stealing your thunder here by actually going down the tech spec side of things a little bit.
You're doing really well.
Yeah,
you're probably stealing his thunder.
I probably am to some extent, but it's what Jabra do particularly well, right? It's the innovation, is that brilliant products to market that do everything you expect them to do, but they do it well, but they also do it slightly differently as well.
And that's, so looking back at the heritage of audio within Jabra, right? Like you said, video's fairly new to us. It's been actually about 5 years now, but it's still fairly new. And you look at the audio history there, the brand of Jabra, at least my impression before I ever came to Jabra was, they're known as a premium audio brand, at a price that was not premium, but the brand itself, the feel, the products were premium, and you just got that feel, and that was the impression. And so as I came on to Jabra, you see that effort has been carried on to the video products. They want to make sure that same look and feel comes across. Now, the circular nature of it, though, exactly because of that 180-degree field of view, when you look at that camera, you're like, what's going on at the front? There are three spots where cameras look like they should. There's 3 cameras. There's 3 cameras in there. And the nature of capturing 180 degrees means you got to have a circular view there. So real-time stitching is employed to bring each of those images into place from all the different angles and create one solid image that dynamically gets stitched together so that as I move across the room, you don't see that weird blurb that happens in the middle. Yeah. Now, unless I'm 2 inches in front of the camera, then you might see it. Little secret there, but nobody's sitting 2 inches in front of the camera.
I was going to say, who hasn't been seen that far away from the camera, right?
Yeah. But that kind of lended itself to how they designed the front of it. And I think once they realized that's the design for the camera piece of it, the cylindrical form just kind of carried over to the rest of the bar. I'm guessing because I wasn't involved in that process. But that's, as I look at it, I'm thinking that's probably the direction they did. And then it is an aesthetically pleasing look, though. And I've heard that a few times today, actually.
It really is. It's so easy as well it's so unique. I think it's so easy to just spot a Panicus 50. No matter, you just know it is, because I don't think anybody else has that design.
No. And to your point, a lot of the other designs, again, not bashing them. I'll even join you in not bashing them. But a lot of the other designs tend to blend, right? You're like, am I looking at the blah, blah, blah? Or am I looking at the, that's pretty unmistakable in the industry. It stands out in its looks.
And I think people have started borrowing them from you now, haven't they?
I've seen a couple borrows, we'll call them. Yes,
there's been some collaboration, official collaboration.
There's a couple out there. And we're working with a couple partners that have been like, this is great. This perfectly complements it. We want to co-brand with you on it, and so we're proud of those partnerships. But we internally, though, we made a decision of, hey, you know what? We stand out from the rest of the crowd, but let's make it a little more difficult to decipher between our USB bar and our Android bar. And to your point, they look exactly the same.
I mean, it was easy, right?
Right. They're just a little bit. The Android bar is a little wider because they got an operating system on board. But
which is good.
So getting into the a bit more, we've talked about the design, about how beautiful it is, of course, and we all agree with that. Let's get a bit more into the technology itself within the video bar. I mean, nowadays as well, if you want to touch on it, because I know Jabra's also. I mean, I was just at your stand now. Jabra's also talking a lot about AI.
Yeah.
So I think So I think that's going to be a buzzword.
It's the theme for the show, right?
Yeah. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing for us to discuss. So I'm not sure if you want to elaborate a bit more on that.
Definitely, I do. So I mean, at the heart of the way we approach AI is the architecture of the devices themselves inside, right? The way that we've loaded these things with chipsets inside that are able to be built upon. We put more in there that needs to be in there because we know we're building for the future, right? It comes with a certain amount of features when you sell it, but the whole idea is people that bought these things a couple of years back, since then, they've gotten intelligent speaker delivered to them from Microsoft Teams rooms. They've gotten facial recognition now delivered. They've gotten whiteboard capabilities. They've gotten this list of things that in other places may be a whole new device. For us, they've been updates.
You already had them in there.
The ability to put them there was there, right? So we instead of saying, hey, we're going to give you the new functionality. Here's a new device. You got to run some cables. We're like, you know what? We're architecting for the future. We're thinking toward the future. So that's at the heart of the AI play, because when you think about the nature of that 180-degree field of view, that's where our bars were born from. It was with the 180-degree field of view. With the 180-degree field of view, you already have to have some intelligent, dynamic capabilities going on in the bar to say, I'm taking 3 separate camera images, stitching them together, and you can walk across the room and I can't tell. That's intelligent, and it's it's already there. So there's a powerful engine already in place, and we've built on that, continue to deliver on it. Now, these days, what that looks like is, again, what I just mentioned. There's a lot of co-innovation that we've done with Microsoft over the last year and a half, 2 years. Well, we go way further back in co-innovating, but in the AI space, we've brought the first front of room integrated intelligent speaker to market, right?
I was going to say, actually, you were first to market on that naturally. So
right. Front of room, I want to say, because definitely intelligent speaker was out in the center of the table before, right? That was there, but we brought it to the bar so that it wasn't a separate purchase, separate thing, and we were the first to do that.
And let's face it, the bar's where it matters, because
it's already
some
there.
people may not have the speaker and the mics on the tabletop, but they have to have the bar.
Right.
So the bar is where it really matters to have that. I think for me, what you're saying is that you had an unfair advantage all the way through, because you were already tinkering with AI at the onset of AI within these devices. So you kind of had a step or two forward on the start line compared to everybody else.
It's a story that we don't tell often, really, but it really is that is the story that needs to be kind of understood and told. Is the DNA of these devices was a huge amount of forethought. The visionaries that started designing these devices, because these devices came from an acquisition, right? Altea Systems was purchased by Jabra a while back, and they had the beginnings there, and they have since expanded them out to create the bars. And there was the original Panicast. It was a little one, looked kind of like a spaceship, really cool little device.
That was actually really cool.
It was,
And it was so much smaller than you actually realized it was.
Right.
In the pictures, it looks the same size as one of these, right?
Yeah, but it's like a webcam size.
Exactly.
Well, actually, it was being because when that acquisition happened, and the Panicast Panicast brand was launched. Recently it was known as Panicast Classic. Back then it was Panicast. It was launched.
I call it the OG.
The OG. That would be very fair.
Yeah.
We were actually customers could they were not quite confused, but they did think for a while that is it a personal camera? Is it a webcam? Is it because it's too small to cover a room? And no, actually the technology in this device is pretty impressive.
It's a serious piece of kit, right?
It was more of a huddle small room space device, but it covered it. It covered the room, and it was at the price point of something for a small room rather than a personal webcam.
That is true.
Now you can get one heck of a webcam if you were using it for that reason, but that was the goal.
It'd probably pick up more than you wanted it to pick up. In fairness, of using it as a personal webcam,
right?
I don't want much of what's in my space to be picked up. I kind of restrict that field of view. But actually, this begins back at. Forgive me if I don't know all the product iterations, but certainly in the P20, right? We just started the personal video devices like that.
Yeah.
This is something that is the whole AI philosophy, the way you do what you do with video has been baked into the philosophy of all the products. It's not just the bigger, more expensive bars. It's actually right the way back to the personal devices. The meeting room is an extension of that. Of what you are currently doing, and obviously the iterations. You mentioned intelligent speaker, but let's not ignore what you're doing, and I think you were alluding to this with the conversation we're just having there with your collaboration with Microsoft, the way that you work with them. Let's not forget you were first to really roll out MDEP, or to work on MDEP, which is the Microsoft device ecosystem platform, which for lack of a better word, and forgive me if I really sort of simplify this, is Microsoft Android, essentially, right?
Right, and it's like on the one hand, you really don't want to simplify it, but on the other hand, you kind of want to keep it simplified, because it's not, once you start to overcomplicate it, people are like, well, what does this mean for the in-room experience? And that's the thing, it means zero for the in-room experience. When it comes to upgrading the device to MDEP at some point, that's not going to be a problem that you have to worry about in the room of people interacting. Do I have to retrain them? Nothing changes in your team's room setup with it. It's a seamless thing. Now the IT admins
more for an IT.
Have some work to do on the back end. There's some Intune work there. There's a few things that have to get ironed out. And we are in earnest bringing it. We're in a beta stage with it right now with an early adopter type of program, and hopefully in the next couple of months here we'll seeing the light of GA, on the bars themselves. But again, there's work to be done by the IT admins to prepare for that. Yeah. And there is another partner out there too that is right on our heels with getting MDEP to market as well. But it's the direction Microsoft is going with how they deliver not just rooms, but this is going to apply to phones. It's going to apply to any other Android device that they support in their ecosystem, right? So,
an exciting prospect, right?
It is. But it is a great example, though, of the early and close innovation, co-innovation, and collaboration that Jabra has had with Microsoft all along. Intelligent Speaker was a good example. And then you've got people recognition that is the most recent piece of that, as well as IntelliFrame, to bring the multiple streams coming into Microsoft's IntelliFrame so that they can properly organize the layout of the meeting room on screen. But that people recognition is huge. A lot of people are like, okay, so this is just like Intelligent Speaker, right? No, it's identifying you by your face, so it's different. But like Intelligent Speaker, you have to enroll your face. Like in Teams, you have to go and enroll your voice if you want to be identified by voice.
Yeah.
You got to enroll your face, which means you sit there and you take pictures from different sides. And then in meetings, you can be identified. Why that's a big deal when you think about the bar sending individual streams back to Microsoft. Those individual streams are still not from people that are signed in with their own Teams account. It's coming from the room.
And that can be anybody, right?
It could be anybody. And what it is going to be is participant 1, participant 2.
Yeah.
And these people haven't spoken yet in the meeting. So if they haven't spoken in the meeting, then they're not identified by their voice.
Yeah.
But if they can be identified by their face, then that individual stream from the room where they are not signed in says what their name is. Now, for the remote participant, that's a big deal because now you have the context of who that is talking. I haven't met them yet. I'm new to the company. Who am I looking at on the screen here? And then you have all the intelligence in the platform, Copilot, actions that happen after the fact that use that data for actionable items after the fact.
And this is the point I was going to make, actually, that it's valuable during the meeting, but it's so much more valuable post-meeting.
It is.
When you've got the recaps, the transcription, the meeting follow-ups, the action points, all of these things. I mean, straight away I was able to reel 4 or 5 things without even thinking of the kind of things that follow a meeting rather than just what we're talking about in the meeting.
You rehearsed it though, so
I've said it once or twice already this week. So I've had a little bit of practice running into this.
Yeah.
But it's no less relevant, regardless of which conversation I have with people. It's the same priority list here, where actually the effectiveness in that meeting room space doesn't come from being able to get rid of everybody around the table. Take those 10 participants, take 50, 40, 50% of them away who don't need to be there, because all of a sudden AI Copilot, enriched by the functionality of the device that we've got in front of us here, the VBS, the P50, and all the kind of add-ons that you guys are doing to integrate that AI technology, not just your own, but also with Microsoft, with Copilot. And then all of a sudden, you've saved yourself a huge amount of time. There's people that don't even need to be there. They can consume that meeting because they're ancillary players, shall we say, peripheral players in this meeting room or this meeting that's been booked. Suddenly, they don't have to be there. They consume it whenever they feel like. They can consume it in a bath, or not in the shower. That might be tricky, but it's certainly in a bath, or whilst they're on the treadmill, or whatever the case might be. Right? The same way they consume a podcast. The key points are coming through. More importantly, the follow-ups are being done by AI. You suddenly have an AI agent in the room who's doing everything for you. You've got your PA. All of this stuff is integrated now, and you guys bring that together fantastically well. I really like the way the technology is driving the thought process there, and again, the iteration of that as we see that come into market. And it's still early days on that, right? Let's be honest.
It is.
There's still a lot of work, like you said earlier, a lot of work still to do. There's new advancements, new chipsets being released by the major chipset manufacturers, which are going to really change the script on all of this.
They are.
So it's an exciting time. I'm conscious of time, so in the interest of that, I just want to sort of turn the conversation and put Jonathan on the spot a little bit. I'm going to take the limelight away from you.
Go for it. I'm going to sit back.
But don't worry, you can relax. I'm not going to stress you with anything too challenging to answer. Really, what I want to try and do is get an essence of really what Ingram Micro is doing to reinforce the Jabra message to the partners. What part do we play to support Jabra when we speak to our partners? Generally, here comes that cough again. It's about to go. So essentially is that kind of what support piece do we play? What is that? What is our arsenal? What is at our fingertips? What's the power that we have when we speak to our partners to be able to really help with the adoption of the technology, in particular with Jabra?
Yeah. So no, it's a very, very good question, Carlos. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
No, but you can say the excitement he said that with, right?
Thank you very much. No, but reality is that, I mean, we have a long-lasting relationship with Jabra across definitely EMEA, and I think more, let's say globally, right? Recently, we've always had strong relationships in North America. Recently, we expanded into Latin America as well. Got APAC and EMEA for a long time. So we are a very strong partner to Jabra for a number of reasons, not just logistically, but more so we have dedicated UC teams who understand the technology very well and the value proposition that the vendor's trying to pass on to the market. So I think having those expertise alongside with just the engagement everywhere, we're very, very, very well aligned with Jabra in terms of what they're trying to put out there, whether that is, releasing our new video portfolio, the AI integration into it, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So we're very aligned, and because we have the expertise, and we have also the right partners, a lot of them IT partners or AV partners, we can talk the same language and we can relay that messaging and that strategy and that value very strongly onto those partners. So I think we've got a great relationship with the vendor. We work super closely with them in terms of the strategy and what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And we align, and they align with us as well.
That's good.
And then we can pass that over onto all of our value partners.
I think you glossed over something which actually we shouldn't really miss, which is Ingram Micro has an incredible reach. Easy for me to say, right? I better put my teeth in. An incredible reach globally. We are a 20,000 plus employee business that touches more parts of the world than Amazon.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yet hardly anybody knows of us across the globe, unless you're in the IT industry or IT Pro AV potentially. Then you wouldn't know who we are. And I think that's a strength, because ultimately we act on the benefit and on behalf of our partners to fulfill. That's huge global reach, huge global scale. We're able to scale. We're a traditional distributor by heritage. Yeah. But we've evolved and we continue to evolve into a solution business. Yeah. And this is where personally I feel that there's a lot of value play in that, because ultimately the alignment that we have with a vendor like Jabra, like you've already stated, there's that specialization that we bring on a local level. So we have, Jonathan and I are part of an EMEA-wide team. We're remote. We're all over the place, quite literally, a lot of the time, much like you, Josh. You're from pillar to post, as they say. But then we have our local regional teams, or regional local teams, whichever way that's correctly said. But which is where we add immense value to our country operations. We have our specialists in UCC and in Pro AV that can have these conversations, that understand the products, they understand the service deliverables, they understand the philosophy around what the vendor is actually trying to really preach to their partners, i.e. the consumers of the technology as well. So it's the stitching of that together that actually works really well for me. And I've seen the relationship. I get to see all the vendors' relationships, right? Because my role with Microsoft affords me the luxury of visibility of everyone. And actually, the relationship we have with Jabra is really good. I mean, all the relationships are good, right, Josh? I'm not going to inflate your ego here. All our relationships are very good.
Thank you.
But the Jabra one stands out to me because it's a really productive relationship. It's very constructive in how you guys really want to support us, to support our partners. And I think that says a lot to your intentions as a manufacturer to really service the industry. It's not just a case of, well, we've made a bar, sell it in bundles, please. Get stuff out there. I want container loads of this stuff sold by the end of the month. I mean, we're Ingram, we could probably do it, right? But it's not the point. The point is that you want proper solutions in place. I think part of that, and so you alluded to this with the specialization, Jonathan, is the fact that you were the only people that pushed out a signature room POC program last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was last year. I've confused the end of the year.
I'd have to look back too, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. So that's early on. That's really early on in the whole signature room. I'm not sure what the word is here, the structure and the rollout of that. Yeah. But you took an archetype. You took the opportunity that the partners need support to POC, proof of concept this into their end users. The end users have an appetite for it. They want to consume the technology. Yeah. How do you stitch that together? So you work with us in channel. Yeah. We weren't exclusive, obviously, naturally, but you work with us. You work very closely with us to help deliver that. Yeah. You put your hands in your pocket to actually make that happen for all of our partners and for their end users. Yeah. That is where I'm referring to this. You took the lead on something like this where others didn't.
Yeah.
And this is where I see value.
Yeah.
It's that excuse me. It's that relationship. I should have something stronger, really. This is the drawback. It's just water.
Yeah.
There's no vodka in there. But no, this is that. That's just it, right? That's where the value lies. It's that relationship that we have with you, the closeness, the experience we have with you, the heritage that you've got in the audio, and now you're bringing that into that video space. It's hugely important. You know, we wouldn't exist if we didn't have relationships with our partners, both on the vendor side and on our reseller side. And similarly, they wouldn't exist if they didn't have good relationships with their customers. So it's dare I say it, everybody in the bed, right? Together.
It's a two-way street for sure.
It very much is.
It's like I go around similar to you and probably to you, Josh, as well. Going around and working with all the local teams, our local specialist UCC teams, right?
Yeah.
And I get the feedback from them. I get involved in the conversation, and the relationship we have, it's just very pleasant working with Jabra. As you know, I'm only a champion for them, right? But but it's it's just the support we get in return. Our teams see it. I mean, Jabra is one of our biggest and most strategic vendors. So we do want to help you grow, because then you help us back. But it's just, the way that happens, like everybody's so willing to just work with one another. It just makes life much easier.
And we've got the objective of the customer in mind always.
Right.
That's the thing. Ingram Micro's tenants are customer first. You have the same philosophy. I can't speak to your internal policies, but it's clear to see that is the objective, right? So I'm conscious that we're rapidly running out of time here. And I really want to talk about other things that Jabra are showcasing potentially at GITEX this year. We saw... I forget where we saw it now. ISE, I think it was. We saw you guys rolling out the Jabra Plus platform.
Yes.
Right? I think we actually did a very brief piece to camera together on that one.
We did,
which was really good. So where's that gone in the last nearly a year?
Right. So when we rolled that out right around that time, it was meeting rooms only is what was being managed within Jabra Plus, right? It was a brand new platform. Approach for us was... We're getting away from kind of the piecemeal way we had provided device management, and we were creating a new cloud-based, API-built solution that we can expand on, iterate on, to manage our devices as we go along. And we started with that announcement to where the Panic S50 was able to be managed from that platform. And since then, the Panic S VBS, which is our Android bar, a little bit wider, as we said, that is now, with the latest update, able to be managed in the same platform. So all of our meeting room solutions are now manageable, customizable, settings, groupings, all that good stuff can be done within Jabra Plus.
Nice.
And as we've shared through the course of this year, we're targeting before the end of the year. We all know how timelines are, right?
Yeah, we'll say nothing about it.
We're targeting before the end of the year that we will bring personal device management into the Jabra Plus as well.
Nice.
So this is, we're going beyond just managing your rooms and saying, look, we got a whole portfolio here. Everybody loves single pane of glass situations, right? That's a big ask usually. And so that's what we're bringing is, hey, by the end of the year, this will be in place according to plan. And then beyond that, there's a lot of other asks that we have in the works as well in terms of providing API access or partner integrations. That's all coming further down the roadmap.
Sure.
And that's where people can start to say, hey, we're building services on top of Jabra Plus to, sell our own services and sell our support or whatever the case is going to be. But that's how the story has evolved over the year, right? And it's been kind of neat to see it grow, but it's expanding. It's expanding according to plan, and so I'm especially excited for seeing personal peripherals come in because in a distributed work environment with workers all over the place, I'm at home. A lot of them are being asked to come back into the office these days, right? Headlines along those lines, but it is what it is. But you still have people that are remote at their homes. They have headsets, they have cameras, they have things that are IT assets that need to be managed.
Yeah.
And so this is a great way for being able to get an overview of all those Jabra devices.
Going to keep those IT managers nice and busy.
Exactly.
Nice and busy. But then you're going to make it easy for them, right? So easier. Let's not make it too easy.
No, people still have jobs to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. we don't want to engineer them out the picture.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us that's new?
So from a news side of things, we
juicy new, not just I've seen.
Right?
Yeah.
Within the boundaries.
What I would say is juicy new is I'd have to say let's have another podcast maybe around ISE timeframe.
Ooh,
okay.
And then I can get a little bit more juicy on that front. As far as what's been new for us has been really this year has had a large focus on software. Starting with the Jabra Plus announcement, because that's a whole new platform that's cloud-based, it's software-based. But we brought a lot of features and functionality to both the Panic S50 and the VBS via new updates, right? And a lot of these features are, again, what would be other devices elsewhere. Yeah. And we have brought them to the devices that are already paid for sitting in someone's room. So the intelligent speaker was kind of the tail end of last year, but people recognition just came through. Multi-stream capabilities just came through. We've got other enhanced modes coming to the VBS bar itself. Security, 802.1x authentication, things along those lines have come to the VBS as well. And there's a little bit more feature sets that expand beyond the Microsoft world, so I won't touch on those on this podcast.
Okay,
right? But
thank you for that.
We have it's been a very big focus on software. So that's kind of where we're at now. That doesn't mean the hardware design machine has stopped in the background, right?
It's always iterating.
It's always going, but the exciting times of being able to bring things to life in front of people to market is imminent, but not quite to where I can say a whole lot.
So what you're saying is make sure to our viewers and listeners here that they have their ISE ticket. They check out the Jabra booth naturally, because there's going to be some interesting stuff that's going to be.
At least keep your eyes on the news as it trickles out, right? But hopefully you'll be able to make it to the booth and see things. But so that's what's, in terms of what's new. The other stories that we're kind of telling here at GITEX that is, I think, really cool is it goes back to the AI piece of it. We've already kind of covered what we've done with AI. Yeah. But one of the big pieces that we're trying to really highlight and draw attention to is accuracy in terms of transcription, because AI is great. And the Copilot story is great and all that's great, but a system is only as good as the data you're feeding into the system.
Always has been, right?
Right.
Always. Right the way back to a typewriter.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a simple concept. Copilot's a great idea, but if I shove a bunch of useless information into it, what's it going to give me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so if Copilot sits there and you're having a meeting from a high noise environment, like a GITEX show floor, and your headset or your meeting room device is not particularly amazing at drowning out all that noise, honing in on your voice, you're maybe not using a headset from a company that is known to bring crystal clear premium audio as their heritage, well, the accuracy levels start to suffer a bit. And that's something we're showing off down there. We actually got a pretty handy demo. We got two laptops side by side. We've got a Jabra headset and a non-named headset, and that's how we're presenting it down there. We're not showing it what we're demoing, but we're saying, okay, live we are reading a script through both of these headsets, same script, side by side on these laptops, and we put it up on a display above, and it cranks out what the resulted output from the transcription service is. Wow, and you can see, instead of just seeing, oh, look, we have 95% accuracy and 54% accuracy, you're seeing what the results were. It's not just us saying,
mess.
Right. Are those numbers that were those just like examples, or are those actual numbers that are coming up?
Those are pretty frequent examples. Wow, they're pretty average examples of.
It's going to vary, right? Obviously, from instance to instance.
Now, to be fair, what we are demoing is, hey, consumer grade earbuds versus a Jabra Evolve 260, Jabra Evolve 265 Flex. And so, there's a big difference there already, right? Consumer. If you're using consumer earbuds, you're already accepting that it's not certified for the platform, and there's problems there.
It's not the experience
that's a big reality at the moment.
It is a big reality.
Something that we're actually trying to, as well as I know, is one of Jabra's, is the focus point is how can we need to make sure that we support those users who are using the because there are a lot of people still
there's a
doing
lot. Yes.
So that becomes opportunity, of course, but
it does. And there's a perception that these are great. They're premium. They're expensive. They should be. There's a difference between certified and there's a difference with enterprise grade, and so that's what we're showing off. Right.
Let me tell you, I've been a Jabra user for a long time, and I do have my headphones here, my personal ones, and every now and then, if I pick a phone call through those, I can't do it anymore. After you've been using your Evolve 265 Flex or any other, like I just can't.
Yeah.
Just my tolerance for that is not there anymore. So
you got to stop the call midway through. I'm sorry.
It makes
it sound like you're going to fling it across the room in an angry fit. My tolerance for this.
Yeah, but it's
it'd be a good commercial.
We'll have to video that.
It is true. Like it's probably not a great experience for the other party. And for me as well,
or for Copilot that's going to use that data, right?
Exactly.
Because these
Back
are
to
the
your point,
spoken words that are Copilot needs super accurate. One word off can change the entire meaning of a sentence.
Yeah, that is true.
It can take a action item that Copilot would give you and make it botched in some kind of way.
Yeah.
A single word can do that, right? Or it can be embarrassing, or it can be a number of things.
Yes.
So the closest you can get to 100% accuracy, you want to aim for that, and that's a big part of what we're showing off. Is that yes, we're deeply involved in co-innovating along AI, but we're also super focused on making sure that that co-innovation is embedded and rooted in a premium, highly accurate experience. And so that's kind of, as far as what we're showing, what's new on the floor, that is where a lot of that focus is.
So I'm thinking now would be a good point to stop. Because otherwise, what we're probably risking is you saying something you shouldn't do.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Product.
I'm just going to keep pushing it down.
Just keep pushing. Maybe we'll take this conversation offline. Maybe you can let us know. I didn't manage to make the Whisper room this time around because unfortunately I was tied up in this room.
Yeah.
But so I understand there's always some good innovation in there, good discussion through, and you garner opinion from partners in the Whisper room. It's not just a showcase for you to say, here's what's coming up. Don't say anything. Shh. It's not. It's hey, look, what do you think of this? Is this the right direction? What should we be doing that's different? Is this?
But I'm really glad you asked the question and that I could give kind of the awkward let's hold off answer, because being 100% honest in the situation, I imagine there'd be some that have watched the year unfold and been like, well, where are the new products? Or is there anything new coming out? What's the story there? So it's good to be able to say and iterate. Newness hasn't stopped, but this year has had a focus on software, and we are moving beyond and enhancing on that. But newness is on the horizon.
Very cool.
Well, we look forward to that happening when it happens.
As do I.
Yeah,
definitely.
So at this point in time, people, viewers, listeners, book your tickets for ISE next year if possible.
I said, the travel agency of Jonathan Hinojosa is open for business.
Here we go. Yeah.
That's the side drop. No jokes. And in the meantime, come to the Jabra stand, go visit the Jabra stand if you're at GITEX. I believe it's Hall 8, if I'm not mistaken, Josh, but you may have more information on that.
There's still 2 more days, so make sure you get down here. It's a phenomenal show. Jabra with a lot of cool stuff on their stand anyway. Come check out the Ingram micro stand as well. You'll see Jabra here. We've got a Jabra Experience Center. So
great booth here, by the way.
Thanks.
This is amazing. Yeah. Not just the podcast section. This whole thing is amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of work has gone into this, as they always do for these events. The boys and girls here from the Dubai team, the UAE team, have put on a phenomenal stand. Just same as last year, bigger, better, more
getting
inclusive.
Better.
Very well, absolutely. Yeah. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. I think we'll run out of time here. I'm seeing people calling us on time again. I really don't care, as you clearly said, right? But yeah, it's been a great discussion. Thank you both for your input. Josh, always fantastic to see you. Really good.
My pleasure. You as well.
And I'm just gutted I wasn't able to get you to spill the beans on anything specific, but
we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, like I said, we'll take it offline. Jonathan, thank you as well. Obviously, always good to catch up with you, get your input as well. Very valuable as the inside person within Ingram. So, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of the show. And Josh, let's go and have a chat offline.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you,
Carlos.